to Vinnes Auto and welcome back to my returning subscribers. Today I'm going to be putting some new brakes on my new C30. Sort of because I just want new brakes and sort of because I'm going to the Nürburgring now in summer. Which means I'm going to need some very good brakes. And so I have got some pretty good brakes, I think. So I have got a set of 300mm discs for the front, M-Tec discs, and they are to 80mm in the rear. Not ventilated or anything, but yeah. So I'm going to be putting these on the car together with some Brembo pads. These are the Brembo Extra line of pads. So they are supposedly a bit better, or like one notch better than the OEM replacement Brembo pads. Reason being because I was going to go with M-Tec pads on the car, but I have M-Tec brakes on my orange C30, and I think they are really good. But the price is around like £20 for a set of front pads. And I just don't know if I can trust something that cheap on the Nürburgring, which is why I went with these Brembo pads instead. So these are like €60 for a front set and 60 more for the rear set. So hopefully that's going to pay off. I didn't want to spend like €400 on a set of brake pads either, for track pads which I can't even use on the road. So this is the setup I'm going with, and yeah, I'm going to be installing those. I also have a M-Tec braided brake line hose set, which I'm also going to put on here. I had those on the orange C30, but now that this is my main car, I'm going to put those on here. And yeah, basically just gonna make a small video about changing the brakes on this car, which is probably not going to go well considering my track record, but anyways, yeah, let's get to it. You will be able to see here, these discs are sort of rusty, at least in the areas which don't contact the pads, but also, if you see there, I kind of suspect that one of the previous owners has put the wrong size brake discs on here, because you get, some of these cars are with 278mm front discs, and some cars are with 300mm discs, which this car is supposed to be from original. And yeah, that's not what you want on track, at least. And as you see here, the edge is completely not worn off, but its pads are contacting all the way to the edge, so I'm not sure that's how it was supposed to be. But I guess we're going to find out when we get those off, at least if we can get those off, because if, as you can see here, even these newer eye-back springs, which to be honest I don't know exactly when one of the previous owners installed it, but yeah, a lot of rust in here because Norway and salt and people salting the roads with absolutely no reason, and yeah, stuff like that. So I'm most definitely going to get yeah, a rust treatment for this car before winter, because it really needs it. So I'm just hoping these caliper bolts and whatnot are not completely stuck on, because that would be not very fun. Look at this. But on the bright side, look at this. This is my polestar blue calipers. As you can see here, these pads that are already on it are also Brembo, but they are not the same type of Brembo pads which I have got now. These are the OEM replacement Brembos, and I've got the extra line for example. So hopefully going to see a bit of improvement. There is still quite a lot of meat left on those pads, but I'm not gonna use them. I'm gonna throw those away and just go on with the extra pads, and if those wear out, I'm just gonna put on a set of M-Tec brake pads which I have up there somewhere. So yeah, let's get on with this. I'm going to, first thing, from experience of the last car where I ended up having a bit of an issue in here with the brake lines. Basically the iron or steel brake, metal brake lines, which go to, they go to like the middle of the car, right in front of the fuel tank over there, and those go like over the exhaust heat shield and over all these plastic panels and stuff. The end of that broke on both sides because I didn't use any rust remover on the lines beforehand, and getting it out and getting a new brake line there was not very fun. So I am going to find myself some WD-40 and completely soak these brake lines in that, or brake pipes, because I don't want that happening again, because I'm really sick and tired of that happening. Let's salt the roads. Let's make it so much harsher for the cars and not any better for driving, except for 1% of the time, because we just like to put salt on top of snow because that's so fun. That's definitely so effective. Now here you can see that these M-Tec brake lines, which I actually don't recommend you buy, oops, because as you see here, they don't use the original fastening method, which means it's just hanging in there. So I'm gonna fix this by literally just using zip ties, but if you're gonna get braided lines for your C30, or I guess this goes for a Focus and maybe a Master 3 too, don't get these M-Tec lines because they don't actually fit on the front like they should. They do work, it's just this is not optimal. So yeah, there's that. Well, this proves that I was very correct in assuming that those brakes are not the correct brakes for this car. Because as you can see here, these brake pads are not exactly evenly worn. They are very much worn here, but not at all worn here. Which means those rotors there are 278mm rotors and not 300mm rotors. So it really is a good thing that I'm replacing these brakes with some proper 300mm brakes before taking it to the track, because I wouldn't want to have these on the track at all. At least this is coming easily off. Yeah. Actually, I don't think these brakes can be very old. I mean, there's a lot of friction material left on the brake pads, and this seems relatively new. So, yeah. But definitely too small, and it's not compatible with that bracket. So, it's time to get the proper brakes on here. Now that's what I call brakes. And then with some nice Brembos there. And the blue caliper. That's gonna look sick. But that's all I have time to record now, because the SD card is literally about to run out of space. So I'm gonna do the rest of the car, and then we're gonna do a conclusion. Or we're gonna do something. So I'm just gonna get on with it. It is the day after. I have worked until late night yesterday to get the brakes on the car. So I've got the braided lines on both fronts, and I have not done the lines on the rears because I'm not doing that again. Yeah, so new pads on, Brembo pads, new discs on, M-Tec pads. They are gold, and with the blue calipers and the cosmic white paint, this color combination, in my opinion, is awesome. So now we basically just have to flush the brakes, because I'm gonna also, in addition to everything else, I'm also upgrading to this, which is M-Tec Performance Brake Fluid, which should give me a bit more protection against brake fade and stuff on track, and just it seems to be a good brake fluid. So we're gonna flush the system with that, and of course we're gonna get all the air out of the braking system, because obviously when you replace the lines, there's going to be some trapped air in the lines. So we're going to bleed them and just get all the air out of them, in addition to flushing the system. Also, as you've already seen, the brake discs which were on here were the wrong size disc for this car, and here is one of the brake pads which came off here. So you're thinking, this is just a normal brake pad with some uneven wear, but all of the friction material has literally just come off the backing plate on the brake pads, or on this brake pad. It hasn't happened to any of the others yet, but I guess if I didn't replace these now, it would probably happen at some point with the others too. So this is a very, very clear example of why you should always make sure that the brakes you are fitting to your car are the correct ones for the car, because this is not good. Also, before I do the trip to Nürburgring, I'm going to change the oil, because it's been like 9-10 months since the last oil changed on the car, and just because you want to have fresh oil when you're running on track. And then I'm also gonna replace the oils not long after the trip, even if the car is only done like 4 or 5,000 kilometers from the last oil change, because you don't want, or when on track obviously the oil is broken down a lot faster, and therefore you also want to replace the oil more often. And also I'm going to use some quality oils. I'm going to use Castrol Edge, which is their top line oil for street cars, and also that's the Castrol Edge is also the one that Volvo uses originally in these cars, so it has to be good then, right? So yeah, I'm gonna just get on with doing all this stuff. Okay, so now the car is, or the brakes are fully bled and stuff, so I got it back on the ground. It is here, right here, with some new brakes, and they look amazing. These M-Tec brakes really do look amazing, and from my short experience with my other C30, they also work really well. So I'm hoping they will do the trick on the Nürburgring. So I'm going to the Nürburgring in about 2 weeks time, and yeah, hopefully the car will not break down or anything, or I'm not going to crash or anything, but I definitely think that these brakes are going to help massively on the track, and they just look really good, so that's also a plus, of course. They are not going to stay they're not going to stay gold all over. The surface which is contacting the brake pads is obviously going to be back to metal, but everything around it is going to stay gold and protected against rust, which we sorely need here in Norway, which you have probably already seen in this video. So I guess it's time to head in there. Okay, let's get on the road. As you can see, I'm just adjusting to the clutch, which is a lot more harsh than the one in my other C30, and its biting point is very different also. So the first few braking sessions with new M-Tec brakes, with like coating and everything, and also new pads, is going to yield absolutely terrible braking results. So like that was quite a lot of brake pressure, but it almost didn't slow down whatsoever. So just have to just get rid of the coating on the outside. Actually, with these brakes, I got a note from M-Tec saying that their braking in procedure for the brakes were to do a lot of just general driving and not braking hard at all for the first like 200 miles. But what's weird is that differs from basically everything else I've seen on the internet, which says that if you're going to bed in the brakes, you have to do a lot of hard stops basically. And I did that with my other M-Tec brake set, and that worked very well, so I'm probably going to do the same here, even if the M-Tec note said not to do that. So we're going to do a bit of braking here. This is basically all the brakes it's got. So as you saw, that's not very effective. Oh, I am an idiot. I just remembered that I didn't tighten these wheels properly. Now that we have secured the wheels to the car, which is a smart thing to do, we can try again. Engine is warm. just saw a car approaching very, very fast from behind. So let's get in some braking before he gets here. Yep, that's pretty fast, and he's most likely going to overtake, I'm guessing. Oh yeah, he is. And here are a lot of people in the road, most likely German tourists, because there are very many of those at the moment. Do some braking. This engine is just amazing. Considering it's a diesel, that sound is just awesome. We're still not even near peak efficiency for the brakes, I'm thinking, because my other C30 with M-Tec brakes are a lot stronger than these, so still got a lot of bedding in to do. And brake. Let's do some braking. Oh, that's a lot more effective. Power. Speed and power. Brake again here. Okay, that's pretty good, starting to get. Now we're gonna do some performance driving, safely of course, because we don't want anyone to get hurt. And we're catching the car, of course. 4 corners, that's all it takes to catch up with normal traffic. Just braking. Okay, that's started. Oh, there goes all my microphone and cables and stuff. Hopefully you can do the. Oh, it's just. Speed limit here is 80, and I'm doing 80. Still 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 doing 80. And I have a very, very good view ahead, so why not? Driving is supposed to be fun. Just braking. Now the brakes are really getting good here. Big Porsche not keeping its side. What's unusual about that? It's always the SUV people who can't seem to understand that they've gotten a way too big car for these roads, and just a way too big car for their activities that they use it for, but who am I to judge? As long as we keep it over 2000 RPM, we got all the power we need. Oh, there's a caravan, of course. Or a camper van, or whatever you call it. And all the ferry cars. Don't you just love it when the ferry bunches up all the traffic and you're at the rear of it? This S here is also very fun. And this car is just so good to drive. Really, really looking forward to taking it on track. Especially now with these brakes and everything. Not bad, not bad. there's someone here on a bike. Why would there not be? Okay, so now I'm most definitely not going to do a brake test from 100 kilometers an hour because there is a 60 limit here, so I won't do that, of course. So if you just think in your head that this is 100 kilometers an hour brake test, even though I'm going 60, then yeah, we're gonna do that. And brake. I mean, that worked. That's pretty good, I would say. ABS kicking in and everything. Good brakes.